Hey everybody, I'm Stacey Park, a licensed designer for Sizzix, and hello! I am thrilled to be back with my second collection for Sizzix. Yep, this is my May collection, and it is filled with goodness for everybody. Now, for those of you who didn't know I had an earlier collection, I sure did. It was in March, and I encourage you to visit the Sizzix website or your favorite retailer, as they will have it for you. And why would you want to go back to March? Well, I always love expanding things. And in this May collection, I've added product that's going to work with that March collection, giving you opportunity all over again. So if you've bought some of the product from March and it goes with some of the product in May, hello, it's a twofer. I am going to walk you through everything. I'm going to show you the dies. I'm going to show you the stamps. I'm going to show you the stencils. And surrounded by me is beautiful inspiration that will hopefully encourage you to want to make, and most importantly, want to make with Sizzix. So I think I'm going to start with my fanciful framelits. In March, I had 4 shapes, and I've expanded on that with 2 more for May. And come the next few releases, I'll be adding more shapes. So you're going to have an entire collection, and that's what they are, a collectible, because what you can do with them is amazing. I'm going to start with the diamonds, and they're beautiful. They're easy to use, and like my fanciful framelits from March, I've added in an embossing element to them. So you can die cut, you can emboss, or you can emboss and die cut together. I want to bring over a little bit of happiness so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Here, I've got my diamonds all done as frames, which means I've taken 2 dies, put them together to make a frame, but can you see the embossed element right there? Amazing! But perhaps you are new to crafting and this is the first time you're going to be die cutting. You might start with just cutting frames and not doing that embossing element yet. You might be building up to it, but once you're there, the product is ready to go. You've got everything you need to make that happen. Here we've cut solid shapes and added the embossing element to all of it. The detail is just stunning. But if I flip my page, I've got the solids without the detail to them. Do you want it? Do you need it? You can have it either way. Then, because it is an embossing element die, you can letterpress. Here we've added ink to the embossing element to add that detail in, sending it through the Big Shot machine, giving you that letterpress look. And if I flip the page, here we've cut out the solids with the letterpress. That little extra detail. It always is that little extra detail that adds that finishing touch to whatever you're working on. Now, if I turn the page one more time, be ready to be wowed. My embossing features work as foil plates. Yes, if you have a foiling machine, get ready to use my plates for foils. Beautiful every single time, whether you want to use all of them or look at in the black. Oh, the black is gorgeous. You want to use them individually and cut the shapes out as well. I don't think, well, actually I do. I know Sizzix has never had dies that will foil. They've never had foiling plates before, but every fanciful framelit will allow you to do that. So your diamonds, they cut, they emboss, they letterpress, they foil, all in one simple set. Now I have 2 fanciful framelits for this month, so I'm going to bring over the next, and it is my circles. They have a different embossing element over the top, so every fanciful framelit will have a different style of embossing element. Nothing's duplicated, so you have something fun and fresh with each collection. Let me bring over that fun little storyboard we put together for you. Here I've got my solid shapes with that beautiful detail embossed right on in. But if I turn the page, here I've got my solid shapes ready to go. And you're like, but what's this at the bottom, Stacey? Well, I'm a girl who believes in taking advantage of every square inch of space that I can. So I had a little extra room on my template. That means I was able to add a border die to go with this, along with a slim border die. Absolutely, if there was extra room, I took it for you. I want you to get as much as you possibly can in every single set. So I've got solids here, and then here we've done the frames, where we've used two dies and the embossing feature together to give you these beautiful frames with that delicate edge. But if you flip the page, here my frames are just as frames. Then we come into the letterpress. Wow, that looks good. Look at those colors. Holy smokes, artichokes, they pop. And easy to do. Grab your Big Shot ink up and you are going to have beautiful results. Here I've done the letterpress with the solids. Option after option, idea after idea, creativity after creativity. It's all yours with Sizzix products. Flip the page and we're into foiling. Hello. Oh, it winks at you. It really does. Foiling, when you move it around, it says, hey, look at me. Oh, the colors are just gorgeous, and it gives that professional look to a finished card. And then I turn and you see it all in the singles where we've cut out the solid shapes, and I've given you the extra little mini border. So these are my circles. And the circles and the diamonds are the next two in the entire collection. I also have two Thinlits that I'm bringing out for May, and I love them. It's about layering and paper piecing, but easy peasy. Yes, I've kept them easy peasy, but so fun and effective. And on your cards, they are beautiful. Let me bring them on over. So I think I'm going to start here. And I've got this beautiful die set where the paper piecing isn't hard to do. The layering isn't hard to do because I've given you all those layers to cut. You've got the paper, perfect for scraps, amazing for scraps. And the samples I'm going to show you, we've taken images from my March and my May collection. This is a stencil that's coming up. We stenciled on white paper, we die cut, we put it right in on top, and look at how effective that is. But we also took my stamp from March, stamped that beautiful image, colored it in, die cut, and just laid it right in. It's like this perfectly made jigsaw puzzle ready for you. Add your adhesive to the back and it fits together beautifully. Love this in there where you're taking a solid image and breaking it up to add a little definition, a little pizzazz to it, a little different from everything else. Then my second Thinlit is right here. And again, it's all about the layering. And this one, I do want to show you all those layering pieces. Look at how we've got it done. Layer upon layer upon layer, where you just take some of your scrap paper, you run it through the die, and then you put it right back in on top of each other. And before you know it, your project is complete and everybody's looking at it going, wow, how did you do that? How long did it take you? Don't tell them it only took you 10 minutes. They don't need to know. Let them think it took you an hour and a half to make this card, because really, you and the die did all the work together. Then I have a stamp and stencil combination. And you're like, a stamp and stencil combination? Yes, love this. Not only are you going to get the stamps, but inside the package is a set of stencils. Now the stamps are not just a solid one image. I designed this set so that you could use the flowers all by themselves. You could use the leaves all by themselves. You could change the positioning of the leaves if you wanted. You've got 2 butterflies that can be used all by themselves. You can set the butterflies on the floral. You have options. With every stamp being its own image, you build the scenery. You build the tale that you want to tell. I could take those leaves and I could just stamp those leaves all the way down a card as if they're falling leaves. If I color them in a fall color, all of a sudden I've taken this stamp and I've made it brand new again for fall. I could take those butterflies and I could use those butterflies and stamp again and again and again and make my own background paper out of those butterflies, giving a whole new life to this set. But then there's the coordinating stencil. So if we were to just use the stencil, here's what you have. Stunning. And yes, the butterflies, you'll get both butterflies in the stencil. And because I had room, I made it so that both butterflies are layering butterflies, where you're going to get the detail in each of them. But then here, I've got the image where we have stamped and stenciled and finished the entire card out. And you can see my leaf is over here on this card. My leaves are here on the package, but then my leaf is way down here on my stenciled image. The capabilities and the creativity that you can design, you become the artist when you're using these. It's your imagination that's going to take these to the next level. All I've given you, all Sizzix has given you, is the tools to make it possible. You sit down, you close your eyes, you imagine what you want it to look like, and here it is, ready for you every single time. The last 2 things I want to talk to you about are stencils. And these stencils, well, they were made to go with stamps that were released in March. Swoon. When I talked to you in March, I said I'd be launching product later on down the year that will look back to earlier designs, making those designs new again, fresh again for you. So if you've already purchased them from the earlier collection, well, this is an added wahoo ka-choo. And if you've never seen them before, now you have the opportunity to get at the same time both products. Let me show you. I think we'll start here. So I have a stamp set that was released in March. I want you to know that while the image is this size on the packaging, what I really have is a full A5 size stamp. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's big. Yes, it's big because it's always easier to cut down than it is to try and expand something. So I did A5 stamps, which were entirely new for Sizzix, not been done before. And I did them with a thought process because I'm a crafter. I am you. I sit at my table and I want to make, but maybe I wanted to do a slimline card, but the size of my stamp isn't big enough to do a slimline card. And then I'm trying to pattern match and it won't pattern match. Here, the stamp is large enough to do A2 size, A6 size, 5x7, mini slimline, slimline. You choose. You could do a different card each time in a different size. So here is the stamp. And now I've brought to you the coordinating stencil. So when we stamp the image, we can layer that stencil right on top. And that negative space that you see, if you stamp on white paper, that white paper that didn't have a stamped image, the stencil is going to take care of that for you. And you can go in and blend those colors and make it what it is you're trying to accomplish. Maybe one day it's a Father's Day card. Maybe the next day you're doing a very elegant wedding card for somebody. And then the next week you're doing a happy birthday card in your bright and happy colors. The options, the materials are there, the creativity is there, and with just 2 items, you can stamp, you can just use the stencil, or you can put them together. Another twofer as far as I'm concerned. Then I have my last stamp. And this is just so fun. Everybody has loved it. I mean, the samples are just absolutely darling. Between the stamp and the stencil, it's sheer happiness. So I've got my stamp here and my stencil where I've got this beautiful, fun, eclectic element. They're happy and they're bold and they're pops and they make a perfect background. Again, a full A5 in size. So A2, A6, 5x7, mini, slimline. What size do you want to create? You got it. Then we added the stencil to it. And the stencil, again, a standalone stencil to where you can just stencil, or you can do the stamping and stenciling. They're fun, they're easy, and most importantly, they're effective. And if you hadn't seen this stamp before, it's available now. And the stencil's available, it's available now. So you have the option to grab the stamp if you are a stamper, and if you've never stenciled before, what a great way to start. Get a stencil that coordinates with a stamp. Or maybe you are more mixed media altered art and you usually play in the stencil world. Now you have an opportunity to grab a stamp that you can use that coordinates to make that mixed media altered art look and just elevate it a hair bit more. I have an amazing release for you for May. I think that it is filled with joy and fun and an option for you to choose the path you want to go down during that creative moment where you're sitting there and having your time. Sizzix has made it so easy. They've made it so accessible, not just for me as a designer, but for you. Well, I'm a designer and a maker. For you as a maker as well. They've brought crafting to a level where even if you are brand new, and this is the first time you're ever watching somebody talk about crafts, you know you can do it. And that's what makes Sizzix so amazing in this industry. The quality of the products, the trustworthiness of the brand, and allowing me, a licensed designer, to do what makes my heart happy so I can hopefully make your heart happy. All right, you guys, I'm Stacey and I am a licensed designer for Sizzix, and this is my May collection.